Well, hello there again, friends and family. So good to see you out here on Saturday, June the 4th. And as you saw as you walked up, we're working on our old raised bed. Planting it out, we are. Well, we've been doing that for the last 2 days. And we're almost finished. Got a couple more things we're going to be putting in. But as I've been putting these in over the last 2 days, as well as I've been doing other things, a problem that I always have came to mind. Something I deal with every time I plant on this property, even in this raised bed. And you may not be aware of it, because this is a problem with raised beds here on a piece of property with so many of one such thing. And what is that thing? Trees. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Maybe you have the same problem. So what you're looking there at is a pile of roots. Yep. Not all of them, but that pile came out of that row of peppers. 3 pepper holes that were approximately about 8 to 10 inches in diameter, about 16 inches deep, maybe 18. Yeah. And as you can see, the raised bed is 2 landscape timbers high. And it ain't full to the top. It's basically only got enough dirt in it. 1 landscape timber now, because, you know, keep filling it up, keeps compressing. It's a natural thing. Yeah, but anyway, just so you know, there's 2 gypsy sweet peppers in there, and I found another lunchbox, so I threw it in there too. Whew. Now all those are sweet peppers. The gypsies and sweet peppers, similar to a bell pepper, but it's got a more sharper point to it. Some bells look just like it. I'm thinking it could be an offshoot of a bell. Who knows? They're just sweet. They come in different colors, and I like them to snack on, to throw in salads, stir fries. They're wonderful peppers. These other 2 rows are Bonnie green bells. Yeah. Another great pepper that I love for all the same reasons that I just talked about. Gypsy sweet peppers. And of course, you know, lunchbox. They're just a snacking pepper mostly. A couple of bites and they're done. Woo, but they are good. Anyway, as you can see, that's a lot of roots. And you might think, well, that came, like I said, from what's been planted previously. Well, no. That, my friends, are tree roots. Yep. And they came out of this bed. But over there on top of the new burn pile is about a foot thick of roots that came out of these first 2 rows. Yeah. And we got more roots to take out. And that's one thing about having raised beds here, and they're over in the tire planters as well, is the trees will send roots up in to the raised beds. Yeah. And you know, I got an abundance of trees. All along this back are the pines. And their roots come all the way out and underneath and up in to this raised bed too. But the majority of the roots that infiltrate this bed come from that massive oak right there, which also spans all the way across and more where this raised bed sits beneath its mighty limbs. Yeah, not to mention all the other maples, oaks, and other trees we have. A bunch of them. Now, you're probably saying, well, you could put some weed fabric here, and that would keep the roots from coming up in. Well, you could. But in my experience, the roots just work their way around it or through it over time. Hey, we could put some sheet metal down. Or roofing tin. Yeah, we could. But most of you know, if you've been gardening any length of time, you'll know that our plants are going to put roots down, preferably deeper than 7 inches, which if I filled this bed all the way up to the top, slap full of dirt, would be 7 inches high. Yeah, in fact, there's actually a chart out there, and I showed it in a previous video. I think that was it last year or the year before. It had more to do about watering your plants thoroughly instead of pretending you are, by knowing the depth of the roots and the diameter. But almost all plants are going to put down roots deeper than 6 inches. Just rule of thumb. Onions won't. They're very shallow. Scallions, chives, stuff of that nature. But these peppers will definitely put roots down further than 7 inches. You can look that up. And I've been digging these holes, approximately about 8 to 10 inches in diameter and 12 to 16 inches deep as far as I can go. Actually down into the native soil. And in doing so, I've been chopping and cutting out roots. Here's my old pruning snippers for the big ones. And you always see, almost always, see old Mr. Tom with a pair of scissors in his back pocket. I'm always snipping something. And these work just fine for snipping the smaller roots. But since I got a couple of holes left, I thought I'd just show you the predicament I face. And it really don't matter whether it's a raised bed or my ground. I have the same problem. It's just that the raised bed, building them doesn't solve the problem of the root invasion that I have over every square inch of my particular property. You know, I love my trees, and they love me. We have to come up with a symbionts to live together, and I think we have. I feed them, they shade me. They would feed me if I'd grind up their acorns. They'd be more than glad. But basically, they shade me and keep me cool in the winter or in the summer. Yeah, they could heat me in the, never mind. They keep me cool in the summer. They're my friends. And the kitty crews, as you've seen. But hey, let's dig a hole and let me show you what we encounter with every hole we dig. Well, we'll stick one right there. That'll be for a tomato. Let me go get that tomato, okay? Okay, we got her loosened up some. And there we go. roots. And we're just going to crumble this dirt off those roots that have migrated into our lovely raised bed. See all the roots just in that first layer. A lot, huh? But we will continue. I'm sure you can see a lot of the roots right now. Plenty of roots. We'll take these scissors. We're going to cut out all the little small roots. That's filling up our hole. Sort of like trimming the tree's underground beard, sort of, kind of. Yep. And see, we get out all those fine feeder roots. Throw them out. Breaking off more. And that's what we do to plant on anywhere in this property. You know, in my mind, back many, many years ago, I thought putting in raised beds, because you know, everybody tells you, they're the best thing since the earth was created. You know, it's just the way to go. Solves all your problems. You know, no weeding. Well, we all know that's not the case, and you'll see it here in this raised bed over the year. And I noticed as I was digging these holes today, as I always do, no matter where I'm at in the place, that the roots come up from the native ground underneath the bed and right up into it, all the way to the top. It just amazes me that they would do that. And I'm going to show them to you down there, coming up from below here in just 1 second. I think you can see in there pretty good now. See these roots coming straight up out of the ground from the bottom. See them right there? Yep. That's what happens. They grow right up in, turn their way skyward, and you can see all around the hole. They've got it all choked up with nothing but tree roots. But trees, they have such great advantages, and you got to learn to live with them. You know, some people buy a piece of property without even knowing the property or getting to know it. They just bulldoze it all down and make a clean slate. or so they think. And they're having a get together at the church behind me. Not here where I'm at. Enjoying a wonderful Saturday. But I'm sure they're friends and family too. People need to do more of that. And, you know, I know I'm down in the native soil. Way down in there. And I like to break that up really good. And you can see, that's native Alabama dirt. Well, it's native with everything Mr. Tom been piling on top of it, and the worms have been munching on and leaving their castings and all their goodness behind for going on 28 years now. Beautiful stuff that once was red clay. But now that I got all the roots cleared out, now will they grow back across the hole? Over time they will. But for this year, you know, this will be just fine. So let me start prepping this hole. And to do that, we're going to lay in a little bit of Pro Mix potting soil, which if it hadn't been on sale for a really good price, I wouldn't have got it. Nope. And I mix that up with all that loosened native soil. Throw a little more in there. You know, it's about, I would say 40% of that Pro Mix, maybe 30, to about 60 to 70% my native soil. You see, since primarily the Pro Mix is peat moss and perlite, a little bit of perlite, little white things, and then it's got some sort of like little silver things. That's vermiculite. The perlite keeps your soil from compacting. People get that confused. It's the vermiculite that helps retain moisture. But that ain't the only reason these potting mixes say moisture retention. The main reason is peat moss. Peat moss retains moisture. Yeah. So, I got me a good base there. Yep. Now I'm going to put in a little magic. If you don't want to, you don't have to. I'm going to put in some of my high yield fertilizer that I explained in a previous video. It was mostly organic. Yeah. It's amazing what kind of a sales pitch certain people do to fit their narratives and their agendas. Even when you would think they would be telling you the truth. Such is the case in fertilizers. And what we're going to be sticking in this hole today is a black cherry. It's a hybrid cherry tomato. It was not my first choice, but around here it was all I could get. And since I am behind again this year, I could have planted from seed, but I didn't. That'll be for another year or this fall. But these are tasty. I've grown them before. They're just darker red. So, hence, because they are a deeper, darker, purplish red, they call them a black cherry. Great cherry tomatoes if you ever want to try. Good flavor. trimmed off our lower limbs, squeezed it out of its little plastic pot, and we gotta tease its little roots loose down here because they're going in a roundabout fashion. Not good. It's better to break them than for them to be making circles. Just remember that. And then we're gonna stick that thing down in there fairly deep. And this ain't so much about planting a tomato, it's about all the roots in the hole. Now I'm gonna mix me a little bit more, basically peat moss, the Pro Mix, in my native soil. Didn't measure exactly. It was 2 handfuls. And just mix that all up. And then we're just gonna place it around that lovely looking. Tuck it in on the sides. Give it a good pat down. Bring that soil in around it. Just like that. Press it all down. Now we ain't gonna stand on it. Of course, that peat moss and vermiculite and perlite ain't gonna let us press it down too much. And there we have it. We have a tomato planted in our old raised bed. Just like that. Minus tree roots. They're everywhere. Plenty. And never fear, the tree will be okay. Never has heard it before. It's got a couple of 10 billion more. Maybe even more than that. So in just case we forget what we stuck in here, we're going to stick in our little tag from Bonnie Plants and look forward to our black cherry tomato. Enjoying them as the season progresses. But hey, let me wash up a bit and we'll talk a little bit more up on the front porch before we call this one done. Well, there we have it. We got in the tomato plant, of course. Our black cherry, that'll be lovely. One will be enough if it produces. And then I went ahead, found a zucchini, you know, a green one. And I already got 2 squash plants. But I thought, hey, I like a little color. And I love zucchinis. And I make up several things that are darn right yummy with them. So, I snuck that one away from Superfoods too. So right now, as it stands, we've got 6 Bonnie Bells, 2 Gypsy sweet peppers, another orange lunchbox. We've got the black cherry tomato and a zucchini, which is definitely going to spread. We'll see how that all works out in here. But I still have some space. You know, I tend to crowd things pretty heavy. And as long as you keep them well watered and well fed, never had a problem with it. I think they call it now intensive gardening. Back in my day, we called it using your land efficiently. Yeah. Nope. Even when I commercial farmed, you couldn't, you could barely walk between the rows. Yep, especially once the plants got up and flourishing. It was like a jungle in my fields. But like I say, if you got the climate for it, the rainfall, the soil, the nutrients, hey, you can be successful too. So we watered all these 5 new plants in, and we gave a little drink to the 6 Bonnie Bells. So they should be all happy for a day or two. And we're currently in the high 80s to low to mid 90s, depending on the day. And the pop-up showers that have been all around us, but have not gave us any rainfall. In fact, it's been, whew, now, going on close a week with no rain. But who knows? We might get a pop-up today or even tomorrow. But I just wanted to share one of the issues I have that I thought would be solved by having raised beds. And that was, you know, planting in the raw dirt here, anywhere on the property, you're going to deal with a tremendous amount of tree roots. And I'll admit, for the first probably 2 to 3 years, this raised bed did fairly well. Of course, it was an herb bed. I only stuck a few things in it in between the spaces. The herbs were perennial, you know. I had my oregano in here, my sage, my basils, parsley, cilantro, chives, and other such stuff. So it wasn't like I would even known the roots were in here. Now, I also put my onions in this bed, and that's when I would encounter the new roots. But yep, raised beds don't solve everything. They do solve some things in some areas. They do have some drawbacks, especially here in the deep south. But, you know, I could give you all of them in another video. So it appears to be dead noonday, 12 o'clock high, or a little bit thereafter. So yeah, time to go in, get a drink. Been a while, about 4 hours. And check on the kitty crew. Hey, tomorrow, Sunday, June the 5th, we'll give you a full gardens update. Because we've been doing other things. Like right here. And in other places as well. So hey, a little teaser. The old man's been busy. Yep. I still got to get my pig tree mulched. I got it fertilized, got some weeds pulled. Still working on that. You know, when it comes to planting, it sidetracks me. Well, I guess the kitties are enjoying the shade. Thought I saw one over here. Spooky. You chilling, bro? You are? Okay. I guess Mr. Gray's underneath the holly, like usual, ain't he? Okie doke. Yeah, they gonna find the shade. And I'm gonna find it too, inside. Oh, and the blueberries are just doing fantastic, as you can see. So y'all, I gotta head on in, get a drink, get a sandwich, check on the little ones. And until I, Spooky, Speedy, Cleo, Mr. Gray, Magoo, and sometimes Heathcliff, and little Gracie, and of course a little bit too. See y'all on the next video. Y'all take care. Stay safe. And God bless you as you bless others. Goodbye for now. Whew, the heat gonna be on. It was already heating up. Time to take a lunch break. And maybe one of them, what do they call it? Siestas. Yeah. Till that sun gets a little bit further down west. Later, all.